Okay, episode 5, Blur and Grain podcast. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I'm starting a brand new segment literally right here, right now, in this exact moment called Updates of the Week. So let me give you a little bit of backstory. Actually, two different backstory moments. One backstory moment is all of my solo episodes, much like this one, I film week to week. So everything that I have put out that has a guest, I pre-filmed that like a long time ago, and I batch recorded that. I just had like one weekend where I just had all my guests over, and I was like, guys, let's just get to it. But my solo episodes, I do them just like off the cuff kind of vibe. In a way, I do them weekly because I want to have a mixture of like things that I have planned, which were all of my like all of my guest episodes, and then also having some space for like maybe something spontaneous or like what is it that I'm feeling that week that I want to share, and kind of having it be and feel a little bit more live, if that makes sense. So I wanted to have like a 50-50 split. So anyways, that's a backstory. And because my solo episodes are week to week, I thought that I could start them. This is something new. This is why you just got to get started, guys, because as you get started, you can kind of assess and kind of gain new ideas. So I was like, something new that I can do is start every solo episode with like an updates of the week type of moment, so that you could hear a little bit more of what I'm actively working on and just get some updates on my life and such. Because I did hear some feedback from some listeners wanting to get a little bit more like personal vibes, like a little bit more like what am I up to, kind of like less business talk, because I have a huge business talk with my guest episodes. So like less business talk and more like Sarah, kind of more personal, kind of more like just one-on-one. So I'm like, okay, let me take that feedback and let me try to apply it, which is what I'm trying to do. So we're starting today with updates of the week. Now bear with me here as I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, how the heck do I transition from updates of the week where I'm literally yapping about my life to like a whole topic a whole topic / lesson, because I try to make like my solo episode something that's like practical tips or things to feel like I'm like giving a lesson, or like that we're kind of learning something new together. So I don't know how that transition's gonna work, and so just bear with me on that one, because I'm literally just here on my couch. I'm like, okay, I'm about to talk for so long, and I hope that it all goes well and that I don't lose you in the middle of it. But speaking of, let me actually turn on my timer, because I feel like if I don't have a timer, you will literally hear me talk for more time than you should, and I want to make sure that I don't do that to you. But anyways, let's get started with our updates of the week. So actually, let me pull up my calendar. Okay, here's something that I do with my friends. When I catch up with my friends, I literally pull up my calendar and I pull up my camera roll, and I go through my camera roll to see if like there's anything that like new updates or new things, and then I go through my calendar and I'm like, what was I doing this week? What was I doing this last weekend? So I can kind of like share in real time. So I'm going to treat you like one of my friends at this moment. I am going through this is my phone. If you're watching on video, I'm literally showing you my phone right now. I'm going through my calendar and I'm going through my camera roll, and I'm just going to sit here and chit chat about whatever I have had going on. Oh, I have one. Actually, not update of the week, but update of the month. As of May 1st of, oh my gosh, it's already freaking June. So it's been a month. A month ago, I got promoted at work, which is so exciting to me. I feel very honored and grateful. And if you want to hear my whole spiel on it, you can like follow me on LinkedIn. I believe my name's just, I don't think I have a username there. But anyway, Sarah Asensio on LinkedIn. I made a whole post about it. But in a previous episode, I believe that I talked about my role. I used to be senior creative and strategy manager at the marketing department of the church that I work at, the organization that I work at. And so I worked exclusively like on the creative team. And now my role has shifted, and I moved up and I got promoted to being the associate marketing director. So now I oversee a lot of the marketing efforts for the marketing unit side of our department. So I feel very, very honored, blessed, and grateful to be able to do that. And so that happened as of May 1st. So that was a big one. That's not even update of the week. That's update of the month. And actually, never mind, because it's freaking June. So update of last month. This is why these updates of the week are going to be so good. So I can give you like more real time updates, right? On what's the vibes, on what's happening. So it happened May 1st. Super excited. Great times. In May, I also, now that I'm looking at my calendar, guys, in May, I did a bunch of shoots. I had shoots 1, 2, 3, 4. I had shoots every weekend in May, which was crazy. So I want to share a little bit about that because I have become really, really bad at posting my client work and like the shoots that I'm doing on my photo pages. And I know that I preach about posting consistently and how important that is. So I was like, okay, I want to like give a small disclaimer here. I preach about posting consistently and all that because I'm mostly talking to people that want to get started, want to grow, or want to like take their business to the next level. I am at a moment in my life where I am not looking to like grow my photography business a lot or grow in clientele or gain a lot of like new clients or like followers or anything like that. I've been blessed that because I've been doing this for over 7 years. I think this year is our 9th year in business, that I have some clients that I have done work for throughout the years that have just continued to hire me, referred me to people, etc. So I have built kind of like a nice like clientele, and I have like recurring work for my clients. So I don't really post, which actually I should, because there's lots of work that I'm proud of to do, but I don't really post at this moment because I'm not trying to get lots of new bookings. But one thing that I wanted to do that I was thinking about is that like I really want to post on my stories. I want to post something about like all of the work that I was able to do in May, because I was able to take like a couple of gigs in May that I absolutely really loved. But anyways, so that's a whole little spiel there. See, you wanted personal? I'm giving you personal. You wanted me to yap? I'm yapping, okay? So that was a lot of what May looked like. I'm pulling up my calendar. I wonder if there's that one more thing. So I did shoots, promotion. I'm trying to think if there's one more like updates of the week. Something kind of relevant. Oh, this one's kind of fun. Okay. It kind of does can tie in. So I started trying to post more consistently on TikTok. I started to do that in May, and I have gained over 100 followers by doing that, because I did a video that got 98,000 views, and so right now I'm at 895 followers on TikTok, and I want to get to 1,000. So I'm 105 followers away from 1,000, which is so exciting. And I've been doing just a little bit more content on like Houston food recommendations, because that's something that I naturally do in my life, is to try different local places. So I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of just filming myself as I'm doing that, and that's one of the videos that got 98,000 views. So after that, I did a post where I highlighted like different restaurants or moments that I've been loving in Houston as well, and that one also got a bit of a surge in views in comparison to like the normal stuff that I've been posting. So I feel like that's gaining a little bit of traction, and it's something, like I said, that I naturally do in my day-to-day life, so I don't feel like I'm having to really plan for it that much. It's just kind of coming out of like the authentic and organic, like it's kind of coming, let me rephrase that. It's coming from an authentic and organic place, which is kind of my vibe right now. I'm only wanting to do things that feel very natural and very normal. I'm not trying to like plan shoots and plan content all the time. I just want to kind of just do it because it feels good and it feels right at the moment. So that's another thing that kind of happened this month. So kind of update of the week, update of the month with that. So I've been posting on TikTok, got a promotion, been doing lots of shoots. So that's a little bit about my life, for those of you that wanted to hear a little bit about that. Oh, I was gonna say something else, and I think I'm blacking out at this moment. I was gonna say one more thing on a personal this is what I was gonna say. Okay, on a personal note, yet again, last week I didn't publish an episode. I don't know if anybody's like counting or realizing that. Probably not, but I actually wasn't feeling like my best last week, and I did not have enough personality to like have this kind of like conversation type talking that I'm doing right now. So I did not publish an episode last week, but it's okay because life's all about balance. So today's Monday and I'm right back to it. I survived the week last week and I am moving on, and I encourage you to do the same. So here's a little, let's start off, let's actually transition to like the actual topic of the day with like a small little note, a small little nugget, a small little encouragement. It is okay while you are working on building your brand, while you're working on building your business, while you're working on starting or launching your business. It is okay if for 1 week or so you fall off because you needed the time, because your brain needed the time, because your health needed the time, because you wanted to rest, or because you did not feel good. That is okay. Give yourself some grace. All you have to do is when the new week hits, you start all over and you keep on keeping on. The important thing is that over time you're consistent, okay? That if you miss 3 or 4 days of posting, or you didn't publish something, or maybe you rescheduled a shoot or something like that, that in the long term you can look back and be like, okay, well, that was only like a couple days that I just fell off. So remember, long-term consistency is what is important. If for 5 days you take a break, it's all going to be okay. So I want to encourage you with that, because that's something that I lived last week. And honestly, if I had not learned a very hard lesson when it comes to that, I would not have given myself the ability and the space that I needed to be able to actually not push myself and film and put something together for last week. There was a moment in my life where that was not an option. I was just so committed to the grind that I was like, no matter what I'm feeling, no matter what I'm going through, no matter what is happening, I could be in depression, I could have just had an argument with someone that I love, I'm gonna keep going. And like that led me to an obvious state of burnout that I did reach at one point in my life, and that wasn't good for me. And ever since then, I told myself, I literally cannot do that. If my body is telling me to just relax, I need to relax. And you're going to see that that's going to give you more long-term success than if you try to push yourself. Because if you do push yourself and you keep creating and you keep doing something out of that state, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be authentic, and it's not going to be good for you. But when you're able to create and make things out of like your authentic self, you're going to see that it's just going to feel more connected to who you really are. So I can actually tell a story when it comes to that. I just referenced a moment where I felt burnout and a moment where I told myself that I could not keep going. This was at the end of 2023. And this was a moment in my life where I was working a full-time job already, and I had my businesses, but I was refusing to, like, I felt the pressure that I had to continue to grow my businesses even though I had a full-time job. Like right now, you see how I just told you like not so long ago that I'm not trying to post every day and I'm not trying to do the most because I'm okay with my businesses being stable right now and not necessarily growing them. Well, this was in 2023. I was not in this mindset, okay? In 2023, I was like, I have to do more this year than I did the last, and I have to keep growing, and next year I have to do more, and it like nothing else mattered other than just growing and doing more. And so I was saying yes to every gig that came my way, whether it was something that I just did by myself, or it was something that I was second shooting or working with another company for, or something like that. So at the end of 2023, I said yes to shoot a debutante ball. Now, if you've seen She's the Man, or oh my gosh, even The Summer I Turned Pretty, is that what that series is called? Where you have like debutante type of vibe. Okay, well, here in Houston, there is like a debutante ball type of thing. And I had never shot that, but I got a call from a very, very well-known photographer here who's incredibly talented here in the local Houston area. And when he reached out to me, I felt so honored. So I was obviously like, and I was in that vibe where I was like, I have to say yes, I have to grow. Okay, I have to keep going. Like, what do you mean? Like, duh. So I obviously accepted this gig. Now, I had no passion for this at this moment. It's not something that felt authentic to me or something that I wanted to do, but because nothing else mattered other than just growing and making money and all of the other like all sorts of like superficial goals that you can think of, that's all that I was thinking about. I was like, I'm gonna accept this gig. So I took this gig, and it was a Saturday night. For some reason, these events run late, so like the dinner did not start till like 10 p.m. or something. Like it was like one of those where like, you know, you're like on grind since you get there. Like there's like 30 girls that are going to be presented, and you're just like running around doing a million things. Well, I was in a very high stress state just that whole week, and then I had this shoot that I had accepted to go to. So I literally get to the shoot, everything's going well, everything's going fine, but I'm not feeling good, guys. I'm not feeling good, and I fear that my worst nightmare happened. I literally got sick in the middle of this gig because I had been very high stress that week, and because this was a season in my life where I was not resting. Like every single weekend I was booked Friday, I was booked Saturday. Like there was nothing, like there was no such thing as like sitting in my couch and rotting and relaxing and watching TV with my husband. That did not exist. I was go 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 go. I had something to edit, I had a shoot to go to, I had something to deliver at all times. So I had this high stress in me. So it all kind of accumulated, and I hit a moment in the middle of this gig, not even in the middle, like at the beginning of this gig, where I'm like, guess what? I'm not feeling good. My stomach was like, hey, hi, like I'm about to cause some commotion. And I was like, no, you're not, like this is fine. And then all of a sudden, guess what? I had to run to the restroom, got sick, crazy times, and this had never happened to me in the middle of a gig. So then I started having a panic attack because I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? I don't feel good. I am in this restroom. I had to stop shooting to try to make it here. I am struggling. I am sweating. And how the heck am I going to continue this gig? So then I had to do the unimaginable, which was go up to photographer and be like, hey, I'm sick and I have to go. Like, I want to pull through, but I am not well. Like, and I went into full panic attack mode right after that, because this was my first time in all my years of doing work like this that something like that had ever happened to me. Anyways, I drove home, and I literally remember the drive home, I was like, what is my life? What is my life? What is my life? You know, when you feel like you've hit a low, for some reason that was like the moment that I hit a low, like a very, very deep low in my life. And I got home and I immediately started like sobbing. And I tell my husband, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Like, what? And my husband, who's so sweet, he's like, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to like push yourself and like push yourself to the point of like burnout and exhaustion. Like, that was just like an expectation that I had just put on myself. Like, nobody was putting that on me, just the voice inside my head. And I remember I had a breakdown, and I spoke to my husband. I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, pray for me, like I'm not feeling good. I was in a big panic. So it was like, it was kind of that moment where you like, you know, you hit a low, and because you hit that low, you kind of start to realize a lot of things. And I started to realize, like, when was the last time I rested? When was the last time I did something for myself? When was the last time I just went out to dinner with my, like, when? And I just started to realize, like, I haven't done that in so long. And then I started to like also realize, like, when was the last time I ate 3 meals? And when was the last time I worked? Like, it literally was such a low in my life that I had to like stop and reevaluate everything that I've been doing. And all of my reevaluation just made me realize that I had 100% entirely neglected myself for the sake of like the grind and working and this unrealistic expectation that I had set on myself and these crazy goals that I had established. And I was like, I can't. And this was at the end of the year. This was in December, I believe, of 2023. So this was actually a good moment for me, like, reset my life. And flash forward to 2024 was the very, very, very first year in my life since I had started my business that I said no to more things than I said yes to, and that I really just began to prioritize like who I am. And for some reason, I'm getting a little bit more emotional, but wow, I'm not about to cry either on video or on audio. So I'm like trying to get it together. But when you are the type of person that has ambition, like, it's really hard to like tell your mind to relax. I talk about this with my mom, and I talk about this with the people that know me. Like, I was just wired this way, that I knew since I was like 16 years old that I wanted to like do as much as I could possibly do. And like, God just created me with this like ambition, and I'm like, I want to like do things, period. And I actually like, in the moments in my life where I have felt like hints of like depression and stuff like that have been moments where I feel like I am not doing enough. So I have kind of, in previous more unhealthier versions of myself, I kind of thought that my value came from how much I am doing, or like how much output in life that I am having. And that led me to these, dark moments where I just realized that I like have completely neglected myself at times. Now, I am talking in 2025 about a low that I hit in 2023. So thankfully I have grown, right? And like moved past, all of those things. But it is a very, very real thing that happens to a lot of us who have these goals, dreams, and ambitions. And it's just like we put this pressure on ourselves, and we kind of measure our value and our worth in comparison to our output. That's definitely not a very healthy mindset or a very healthy thing. So that is something that I learned. And I guess my point with this whole story and like the little bit of what I wanted to share today was encouraging you to create things that feel authentic to who you are. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is how, like when it comes to like my presets and like my editing style, people ask me all the time on my DMs, like, how did you, get good? And how can I make my tones look like this? And like, how did you like teach me? Or like I get a lot of that kind of vibe. And the reality is that I hate that the answer isn't that practical. Like, I think people want me to be like, oh, well, look, I took this course or I followed this person and I followed these 5 simple tricks and I got here or whatever. But it's really not that. It has really been through lots of trial and error and realizing that I have to put out the things that feel authentic to who I am. And so if you're in that season where you are starting out, I just really, really want to encourage you and really want to remind you through my personal stories and like the things that I just shared is that there's nothing more important than doing things that feel authentic to you. I reached that point of burnout because I was not being authentic to myself and what my physical body and my mind was telling me, but I was just so wired on this unrealistic expectation that I have to get to this point and this threshold that I created for myself. And I started creating out of an inauthentic place, and I've realized now that the best thing that you can do for yourself is to create from an authentic place. And there is so much value in being comfortable in your own shoes and being comfortable in your eye and being comfortable and trusting that who you are and what you are called to do, that I could not like I said, I wish that I was giving you some sort of like practical tip on like, oh, follow these 3 steps and this is how you get good. But the reality is that there's so much in your like mindset and in your realizations, your personal realizations that have to come into that. And one of the things that I realized that has helped me a lot is like when you are confident in who you are, and you are confident in what you are called to do, and if you are confident in your skills, and if you are a secure person, nothing else matters. And the comparison and all of that will never, ever, 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 ever get to you. Here's something that you need to know and that you need to remind yourself today. Your eye and your vision and your talent and the way that you see the world cannot be replicated. You're the only person that can see the world through your eyes. You're the only person that has that specific eye. You're the only person that has that specific vision. So take away any of that insecure thought of, what if I put this out there, or what if I share this and somebody copies me, or what if I'm establishing my tones and then you see someone else and their tones look very similar to yours. That is like such a trap that we can fall into as creatives. But once we realize like nobody has my eye, nobody can replicate the work that I do because my eye is unique. There's only one Sarah, there's only one you. And so therefore what you put out, no, it's like if you're being authentic to yourself and you're following the vision that you have for your type of content that you want to be creating, absolutely nobody can replicate that. And you should not feel insecure, and you should not feel like you're lacking confidence in that area. And so I wanted to really, really kind of have an episode that was more like real, raw, vulnerable about some of those lessons that I have learned when it comes to like staying authentic and staying true to yourself, and ultimately like creating the type of content that you enjoy making. Nothing's ever going to be more valuable than creating things that feel authentic to who you are. And one of the main things that the main point that I wanted to get across in like today's episode is just a reminder of the importance of staying authentic and being true to yourself, and canceling out all of the noise and just focusing on what you know in your heart that you want to pursue, and what you know in your heart that you need to do, to get there. There's lots of strategy things that we can talk about, and trust me, in every single other episode, like, we're gonna go so deep into like practical tips and like do this and do that. But before we even like go into the weeds of that, like, I wanted to send out a reminder of like, nothing will be more important than finding your voice and staying true to that, and staying true to who you are. And one of the things that I realized, I honestly, in the last year, and ever since I went through kind of that low moment in 2023, I used to be a little bit more concerned with like, I guess in the creative world, and I guess I'll just be like super raw and open and vulnerable here. In the creative world, there's a lot of like comparison game type of stuff going on. And there were moments where it's like, you kind of fall into the trap of like, well, I shot this type of stuff and now this person's shooting this type of stuff. Or like my tones, I shifted my tones to look like this, and then I noticed that this other local photographer shifted their tones to look like that after I shifted my tones to look like that. Or like, I started posting 10-second reels and TikToks, and then this other local photographer that's been following me for years started posting 10 like, and these are just some examples, right, of like the comparison game that can go on, because you're doing something very vulnerable when you decide to create something and put it out there for everybody to see, right? And once you do put it out there for everybody to see, you're also kind of subject to people trying to copy you or mirror what you're doing. And some people try to mirror what you're doing out of a place that they enjoy your work and genuinely you've inspired them, and they want to do something similar to you because you inspired them, and that is a beautiful thing. And other people, maybe don't have the best intentions or the best motives when and do fall more into the copying type of like replicating your content or your style. And as creatives, like, we face that so much, and it is a tricky thing to navigate. And I used to focus on this stuff so much, and I got a lot of hype I think around these years, 2022 and 2023, and a lot of people close to me were hyping me up with like the best intentions. Like, nobody was like telling me anything like unhealthy or giving me like an unhealthy mindset, but some of these same people in my life also started pointing out to me when other people would do things similar to me, and I wasn't even looking for it, but they'd say comments like, oh, and did you notice that this person, and anyways, I kind of started to get in my head with some of that stuff, and I felt a bigger need to maybe prove my worth or state that I was the first one that tried this, or that I had the original thought. Like, I started kind of wanting to overcompensate, and there was a season in my life where I was very caught up in what other people would think, titles, credits, recognition, etc., 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 which are because of the nature of our work. All of those things are nice and definitely part of our industry, but it did become a point in my life where I was like really, really kind of into this stuff. And as I've grown and matured, and as I've gone through my low moments, like I have shared, I've also kind of realized, like, what, I don't feel that way at all anymore. Like, I used to genuinely care about these things so much, and now I don't. And that honestly has come from a place of being confident and secure in who I am and what I bring to the table, and nothing else matters. Like, I'm like, I know that there's nobody else that sees the world the way that I do, and I want to remind you of that. There's nobody else that sees the world the way that you do. I know that no one has my eye. I know that no one has my specific style or taste, because my specific style or taste or my eye or the way that I see the world cannot be replicated. The way that you see the world in your specific eye or style or taste cannot be replicated. And I realized, and I got to a point where I was like, I am confident in that, and I am secure in who I am and what I bring to the table and what I lean towards, and that is me. And this honestly came at a moment where I started to edit all of my photos using my own presets in my own tones. And I had been trying to do this for years, but every single time that I was trying to build my own tones, I had a reference image pulled up about some other photographer's tones that I was trying to replicate. And it was exhausting, and I went through this process where I was like, it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be good enough. I don't like them. They don't look as good as this person's. And then I was like, wait, they don't look good as that person's because I'm literally trying to copy them. I'm literally trying to replicate that. And I just released that, and I was like, I'm loving these tones right now. They don't look anything like that photographer tones that I admire. They don't look anything like all these others, but I'm loving them. And literally, I kid you not, I started editing the way that I wanted to with the tones that I loved, and everything changed for me after that. I feel like I released so much, and I grew, and I became confident in that. I'm like, you know what? Nobody has these tones because I made them from scratch. I made them from scratch based on the things that I like and the way that I want to see the highlights and the shadows and the way that I want the exposure to look like and the way that I'm shooting, the way that I'm exposing, like, and that is good enough for me. It's not about whose tones I could replicate. It's about, do I like them? And that's enough. And that's all that matters. The fact that I like them and that is what I enjoy. And I have learned so much, and I pride myself in being able to like match the vibes. Like, I do have clients that sometimes are like, oh, can they look more like film? And I'm like, yeah, I can. I know how to do that, and I can match the vibes like 100%. But if I'm not getting clients that are asking for specific things, I just edit to my liking. And I found so much value in that. And I learned, and I was able to just be like, through the course of that, through hitting that rock bottom moment, to really feeling more confident and secure in who I am and making space and time to prioritize myself, I have found my authentic voice more than in any other season of my life. And I wanted to encourage you with that today and remind you about that, staying true to yourself and staying authentic, and realizing that it's probably going to take some time for you to get to the place where you land at a sweet spot with your style or with your eye or with, you know, the shoots that you're doing. But ultimately, all of that work is going to continue to craft your eye for these things, and you're going to continue to be able to find your voice through that. So don't forget that that is something that is incredibly important and something that holds a lot more value as you're starting, as you're growing your business, as you're wanting to scale and grow. You do have to take these moments where you pause, you put all the strategy and planning and financials and gear and all of that to the side, and you just think about yourself, and you just think about, what do I want to do? What resonates with me? What makes me happy? What type of pace can I grow this that is sustainable for me? What brings me joy? What is my voice? What is it that I want to accomplish? Not thinking about anybody else, and not thinking about what other people may think or what other people may do, or if anybody's doing anything similar than you, but just thinking about yourself. And so I wanted to kind of share that. It's more of like a different type of like episode dynamic today, where I just kind of shared lots of stories and some insights that I have learned. But I definitely wanted to share that and get that point across, because I feel like it's very valuable. And when I think back to all the seasons in my business where something changed for me, it all has come out of this place, realizing something that shifted me towards creating more things that were authentic to who I really am than anything else. Despite all the conferences that I paid for and workshops that I did where they taught me 1, 2, 3 steps to do this, scale to 6 figures, contracts, all of that stuff, beyond all of that, the real turning points in my business have been the moments where I have been able to take a step back, assess, and make decisions and make calls that have shifted me more towards what can I do that is more authentic to me. And that has been way more valuable than any other tip that I have ever received, any other course that I've ever taken, or any other mentorship session that I've ever paid for. It has really been asking myself those questions and starting to create and make moves for my business out of an authentic place. So I want to share that with you because I definitely believe it's important. And there's honestly, I could keep talking about this for a really, really long time because I feel like I have a lot of stories when it comes to that. But I wanted to make sure that, the general point got communicated, and I hope that it did. I'm trying to literally think back on this whole episode. I'm like, did I say anything that could resonate with people? But I hope that I did. I will wait to hear the feedback from the people that are giving me feedback to see if I was able to successfully say something that stuck. But I kind of went off a tangent there. I had some bullet points, but I kind of winged that entire thing because I was just feeling very personable and very just sharing my story and sharing what I have learned. So I hope that you were able to get something from that, and please leave me a comment. Please send me a message. Please talk to me if you feel like any of this resonated with you or if you have more questions. I'm so excited because next week's episode I have another guest coming, and we're going to talk all about the world of influencer marketing, which is going to be very, very interesting, and there's lots of fun nuggets and insights that I feel like are so good that we got to share in that episode. So I'm so excited for that. As always, follow me everywhere on Blur at Blur and Grain Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok, and then my personal Instagram is at Sarah Asensio. And you can also send me a DM there, either on the podcast page or on my personal, and let me know if there's anything specific that resonated with you or that you have more questions on. So I'm so excited for next week's episode. Thank you for watching, for tuning in, and for listening to season 1 episode 5, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.